We've got a brilliant women's 1500 metres to come.
Yes, and middle distance fans kept waiting somewhat a few hours into the programme yesterday and today, but I'm sure it'll be worth it when it comes around. We saw some really strong results yesterday. I enjoyed the fact that Anna Yusupova, even though it was only a B race, she won the day before her birthday, and expecting her to line up for Azerbaijan in this 1500 metre race. Of course, just one set of athletes needed. We've got 14 of them. We can fit those into one race in the 1500 metres and all distances further than that. So yeah, today being her birthday, turning 38, so happy birthday to the athlete from Azerbaijan. And that was obviously a big personal best for her yesterday, and that's what made it particularly impressive, overtaking athletes much her junior. But we've got Gina McNamara in this, who won the 800 metres, the top race, and that was also fantastic performance coming through, holding on strongly as the line came up. She did also win the Games of the Small States of Europe coming into this, and was second in the longer distance that we're about to see here, 3 3/4 laps of the track. Of course, there is Yusupova in the navy of Azerbaijan. Also in this there is Redia Dauti, a 21-year-old Albanian who has national titles, as many of these women do, right across from 1500, 3000, 3000 steeplechase and 5000. This is Hreimsdottir of Iceland. She actually has a 4x400 metre relay national title along with 800 and 1500. Of course, not all countries do have relay national titles, but you see them on the World Athletics profiles, and when you rack them up, it certainly does help those numbers. So getting this race underway shortly, and then we'll have the men's 800 metres, women's 200, women's 5000 still to come. Interesting to see if Yusupova does also line up in that as well. Men's steeplechase, and then the final event will be the mixed 4x400 metre relay. Well, McNamara was second in both the 800 and 1500 a couple of years ago in Horso. That was behind two Irish athletes, Louise Shanahan and Sophie O'Sullivan. Of course, the Irish were then promoted, and therefore she has an opportunity to be in the top spot once again. She has a personal best of 4:12.64, which is a best ever by any athlete from Malta. Athlete based in the United States, fairly recently become eligible. Studied at the University of Michigan. So she's just outside there in the red and white strip. And it's interesting because she adopted a similar position in the 800 metres that meant, yes, she ran a bit of extra distance, but she wasn't caught in any kind of tight situations. But you can see here it's the Moldovan athlete Mihaela Botnari who's gone out front early, and we did see a couple of tactics like that, of course, not least with Ivanovsky in the 5000 metres, but really kind of setting a bit of a challenge, the gauntlet down to the opposition, to ask them, do you want to go with this pace? Are you going to hang back with the pack? Of course, a potentially risky strategy, Rob, for the Moldovan, but setting out her stall early in this one.
Fascinating, Alex, especially when you bear in mind her PB is 4:35, and that is a sizable lead. I guess she feels maybe she's better off running a metronomic pace where it's very even and she stays out of trouble. She's not going to get her heels clipped at this stage, is she? But at some point, surely, the wheels are going to begin to come off. And as I say that, Gina McNamara, who timed her bid for glory in the 800 metres perfectly, eligible to represent the United States and then transferred over, as you mentioned, 2 years ago. I think one or two of the Pace family have done the same, and McNamara recognising she needs to close this gap. It's a very brave way to run from Botnari of Moldova, but little by little they are beginning to close, and it's McNamara, the class of the field, who's leading the chase. Fanny Goy in third place. Watch out for the Luxembourg athlete, 26 years of age. She's a 4:34 athlete at her best and came into this with a 2:15.800. But at the moment, Botnari still running and still looking quite comfortable, but McNamara surely is coming and closing. It's just a question of when, and I think the answer to that is quite soon.
Well, absolutely, and if she does get consumed by the pack, for want of a better word, then you have to question whether it would be the most sensible strategy from an overall team point of view. Of course, ideally wanting to finish ahead of Malta with McNamara closing, and yes, maybe she hoped to try and run a fast finish out of some of the other athletes. But are they just going to come past? Is she going to be able to try and manage a gap to this lead group? It's the Kosovan athlete that's now trying to come past here. So Gresa Bakraci, who is also a quality athlete with a personal best of 4:20. She's finished in the top 3 in the past. That was in 2019. And also in the steeplechase in the top 3 2 years after that. A national record holder indeed. So it's Bakraci of Kosovo in the blue, then leading the taller figure of McNamara of Malta. And I think she just comes in with great recent form and great experience at this sort of level, having finished second in the past. And no disrespect to anyone in this field, but yes, Sophie O'Sullivan, a really high quality athlete, so finishing second to her, no shame whatsoever. This looks like it's going to be a really good battle then in the closing stages. Bakraci of Kosovo trying to hold off McNamara of Malta. She's gritting her teeth there, the Kosovan on the inside, very experienced athlete, but around the outside once again, a great tactical display by Gina McNamara, and what a sensational middle distance double from the Maltese athletes, coming through in 4:27.23. So didn't have to run one of her fastest times, but still had to be tactically astute, and really impressive then when you consider again, we have to keep mentioning it because we're getting quite close to the conclusion of this third league, less than 10 events to be concluded. Malta had an 18-point gap to where they needed to be for promotion, and we'll just wait and see where the Bosnian and Moldovan athlete ended up finishing to see how many points are made up. In any case, Rob, you have to be really impressed then with a double victory. That's what, 28 points for McNamara across the third league.
McNamara ran really well there because Bakraci had let the early leader Botnari take all the pressure. When she came round, it was quite a definitive move to the front by the Kosovan, running on fresh legs. That lifetime best of 4:20 put her second only to McNamara. But what I thought McNamara did really well on the last lap was not panic. She took her time. The Albanian was clear in third, Doughty, but she was a long way back. It was a 2-horse race coming into that last 100 metres, and McNamara once again, as she did in the 8, timed it beautifully well. This was the moment where the leading 5 managed to sweep past Botnari, who'd been very bold, the Moldovan. But look at the ease with which the Kosovan, Bakraci, hit the front. Now she starts to grimace. I think McNamara was made to work pretty hard for that. Hot weather, over 30 degrees. We have had a heat and humidity warning. But when McNamara struck, there was to be no response from Bakraci. But I think the two of them laid on a fantastic race there. And that is a great double for the middle distance for McNamara. America's loss is Malta's gain. And speaking of Maltese gains, a huge haul of points from this young woman. And if Malta do end up nicking that third qualification spot for Division 2, she will have played a sizable role in that promotion. Great stuff by the youngster from Malta. Looks very happy with her new nation and her newfound form.
So here is the full confirmed result then. Gina McNamara of Malta, 2 lots of second place a couple of years ago, and now first in the 800 and 1500 metres. A fantastic second place for Kosovo as well.
Hi, I'm Nadia Batogritti. Sign up now to the European Athletics YouTube channel.